Welcome to another video of the series, in which I show you various details, fun facts, and glitches in GTA. After a long streak of San Andreas videos, we return to GTA 4, as some of you requested. We'll kick off with some glitched objects, something along the lines of our beloved swing set. First off, we got a location, which sends various things to another dimension. See, it turns out there's a black hole in Alderney. It's very sneakily camouflaged as a police boom gate. If a pedestrian touches such a barrier while it's closed, then poof, the pedestrian gets vanished to the cursed realm. The same case with vehicles. We park a car, move away, the barrier lowers down, and poof, the car has been exiled from the GTA universe. Nico seems to be unaffected by those anomalies. It seems he is to remain in that horrible city forever. The best thing is that the local neighborhood seems to know something's up. I'm saying that because pedestrians often avoid crossing the barrier even when it's damaged, which you can see on the screen now. Other objects which I wanted to talk about are the possessed chain fences in Balbo. The weirdness begins if we jump around close to the fences. That can give a funny effect because jumping right next to the fence makes Nico jump much higher than normally. The chains also have a pretty strange hitbox, which makes them a perfect spot to perform backflips on a motorcycle. It can get quite creepy if one drives a car on those fences. I'll show you a clip. Now, the only explanation I see here is that there's some ghosts at this place. Now, let's pose a question. Can a policeman arrest a fireman? GTA 4 got a lot more advanced when it comes to the police. Not only do we have the new system of losing the cops, but the police will finally pursue a pedestrian who attacked the player. For the record, that was absolutely not the case in previous GTAs. Ridiculous situations with the police in the main role were a common sight in the 3D universe in general, like Ebola working together with a policeman to defend CJ. Like I said, totally ridiculous. But going back to GTA 4, we still have a few exceptions here, and they're definitely much more reasoned than previously. See, the police won't arrest officials of other emergency services. For example, if they see a fireman giving us a beating, they won't bat an eye. The same happens with paramedics. So, as you can see, fellow professionals are favored by policemen in GTA 4. A detail which is especially mind-blowing is to do with the explosion of the grenade. The developers couldn't have polished this matter better. See, if you lead to an explosion of a grenade while in a staircase, you'll be able to see plaster dust falling off of the ceiling a floor below. Now that is an absolutely top-notch detail. It's also worth adding that a lot more dust appears in the air in the case of an explosion in a staircase than outside. That makes sense, as there's plenty more dust, dirt, and dusted plaster in such places, which all gets blown into the air by an explosion. In short, pure gold. Going further, grenades will come in handy while showcasing the next detail. In GTA 4, we've got vehicles which appear in different variants. To be specific, I mean those which have the version with the roof and without it. If we have such a car in a roof variant, if it explodes, its roof has a chance of detaching, which is another very realistic flavor. Unfortunately, the roof can only be detached after an explosion. I tried to detach it within the traditional damage model, so to speak, but without effect. I gave those cars a really, and I mean a really hard time, both on the soft top and hard top variants, but neither of my attempts brought any interesting results. Well, that's a shame. It would be a similar gem as the possibility of a wheel detaching in GTA 5. We can only wish though. Another detail is so good that I still don't fully believe my senses.
Now I'm hearing things. Fuck me!
See, in GTA 4, there are those metal grid fences. As it turns out, they have one amazing property. Sometimes, those fences can be found near the subway train tracks. If we listen closely while near those fences, we can actually hear a characteristic metallic rattling, which will stop as the train moves away. This is, of course, very realistic. In real life, a passing train causes the surroundings to vibrate. Therefore, those more loosely attached objects, such as those metal grid fences, begin to vibrate. Let's keep going. The tail rotor is necessary in a helicopter because it counters the forces generated by the main rotor. At Rockstar, they've certainly done their physics homework, as detaching the tail rotor in GTA 4 leads to the same as what would happen in real life. The helicopter begins to spin in the opposite direction than the one in which the main rotor rotates, because there's nothing to counter the forces. That's just class. They could have simply made it so the helicopter falls, or the flying gets harder. But no, Rockstar decided to polish it the way it should be. In the context of helicopters, it's worth adding another subtle detail. When we're flying close to trees in a helicopter, we can see that our rotor is cutting the leaves off of the trees. Actually, our rotor forms a little tornado of leaves if we're flying near vegetation in general, which also looks very realistic. I always love GTA 4 for the fact that you can basically encounter various details wherever you look. Let's take a look at the rain effect. I'm talking about the characteristic effect, which makes it look as if the camera following Nico were acting like the main character's eyes. Cause if we look upwards during rain, we experience the rain more intensely, as the raindrops fall into our eyes. When we look downwards, the rain isn't that noticeable nor intense from our perspective, and that's exactly how the camera following Nico Bellic works. There's far more raindrops on the screen if we look upwards. In turn, they disappear almost entirely if we look downwards. What's also impressive about rain in GTA 4 is that certain minor city props have a different sound of rain falling down on them. Mainly, I found 3 such cases. First, trash bags, which have a very realistic sound. It sounds in-game exactly how it sounds in real life, if rain was falling down on such a material. Then we have things made of metal. Take barrels, which make a sound of rain falling down on metal. Another metal thing are trash containers, which make a different sound as well. Additionally, objects made of materials which do not produce a loud sound when rain's falling on them in real life, such as cardboard, wood, or concrete, do not make any sound in-game either. The next fun fact is another gem. If we fly a helicopter over a burning vehicle wreck, the fire coming from it will cause our helicopter's engine to overheat very quickly, which will eventually lead to its explosion. In fact, it's a pretty useful thing to know, because the same effect is observable in the case of the fire at the top of those long chimney stacks in Actor Park. Flying near those stacks, you gotta be careful not to fly too close, because your chopper can get flamed up very quickly. In GTA San Andreas, cars can get dirty, and rain can get them cleaned up. In GTA 4, another mechanic was added, which was missing in GTA SA. A car can get blood marks in that game while running over pedestrians, and the developers did not forget to polish it the same way. The rain will clean our vehicle of any blood marks we had on the bodywork. We keep going, or rather, we keep driving to Alderney, and to be more specific, to the Auto Erotica car showroom. Inside, as well as outside, we can find cars for sale. The place was pretty uniquely scripted. See, regardless of whether there are workers in the facility or if there are any cops nearby, we'll immediately get a wanted star if we steal any of the vehicles in the showroom. And that part makes sense. What's weird is that it works only once. If we remove our wanted level with the help of a trainer and steal another car, the wanted star will not be granted. We have to leave the area and go back in order to restart the script to get the same effect again. But that one is forgivable. Something that isn't forgivable is the fact that the script doesn't trigger the alarm until we fully enter the vehicle. That's why we can smash the windows in 3 cars in a row without any consequences. After that, the usual police script triggers, which will always grant us a star. On top of all that, it turns out that the script is poorly written to a degree, where if we park our own car in the showroom or at its lot, leave it, and re-enter, the game will assume that the car belonged to the showroom and will grant us a star as well. That's absurd. And it turns out that the Grotti showroom faces the same issue. And about the Grotti showroom, it appears that the workers of the showroom are not to be bothered by any acts of vandalism towards them. For example, we can push their monitor off the desk and they'll still stubbornly pretend they're working on the computer. Unfortunately, this matter was almost entirely skipped by the developers. We can do the same at the internet cafes. We can completely demolish people's computer sets, and they'll keep stubbornly clicking that keyboard, well, clicking that monitor actually. That's especially strange because if we mash up a computer set, the game will not allow us to use it anymore. The developers could have used the same check in the case of other pedestrians. It was a perfect opportunity to implement some humorous lines of the cafe's customers. You know, something like, "Why the hell are you walking on my desk, dude?" and stuff like that. Unfortunately, it was not to be. Going back to the subject of the police, there's one more thing which caught my eye recently. Turns out, cops are not as dumb in that game. When we begin to shoot rockets at policemen, they can actually dodge it pretty well. They won't always succeed, but take a look at this son of a gun. Now, this guy was definitely the master of dodgeball in elementary. However, his talent isn't that unique after all. It actually works with every pedestrian. Even if we begin to fire rockets at a random dude in the streets, they'll dodge the rocket too. If you know any bugs, fun facts, or details in GTA 4, let me know about them in the comments. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Take care and see you soon.